Welcome to Really No Really. You haven't liked and subscribed yet? Really? Do it, where the puppets get angry. Now here's Jason Alexander and Peter Tilden.
So this episode is about TikTok because...
Which I know nothing about.
I know
right
a bit about, but
nothing.
not more than you, not much more than you. I saw that the majority of Americans say TikTok is a threat to national security. And then, you know me, I read a lot in prep, and then there's articles that say...
I don't know why that makes me laugh.
It's a, yeah,
TikTok is the threat to national security.
Yeah. And then I read articles that say it's not.
Right.
And this is why we wanted an expert on. This guy is a big-time expert coming on. So they're worried that TikTok's going to take our stuff, our information.
Now, I'm not on TikTok, but I am on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. And our show is on all the platforms.
Yes, it is.
When we created an account for the show, what information did we have to surrender to them? What did they know? That the Chinese government is going to feast on? That what did I give up?
Can I tell you
Did
something?
I put in my social security number? Did I give them my my children's stock codes? What did I give them that is so valuable?
And what are they going to get? That Google, every click I do, everything I type in, they got already.
Right.
They got my health, they got my mental, they got my medical.
Have you ever read the thing where you click, I agree. Have you ever read it? They could have asked me for a kidney, and I've signed it over. I have no idea. So
years ago, did a great skit where somebody shows up at their house and they're starting to take stuff. They go, "What? It's in the agreement." It's
in the agreement. Right, yeah.
So let's get our expert on, Bruce Schneier, who is called a security guru. This guy has testified in front of Congress. He's written tons of articles. He can tell us. The really no really we're looking for today, really, if it's so dangerous, it's so horrible, why am I reading articles that says it's not dangerous, not horrible?
Yeah. Is TikTok dangerous
or not?
Or
really?
benign?
Tell us already. We want
Tell
an answer,
us.
right? Really?
Really?
No, really.
No,
it's enough
really.
already. Don't yank us around.
Really? No, really. Really? No, really. Really?
So Bruce Schneier has joined us. He is a security expert. He's written a multitude of books. He's appeared in front of Congress about hacking. We wanted to have you on because this TikTok thing is confusing. You hear that most Americans think that it is an evil, horrible thing. I know that the Trump administration tried to ban it but couldn't. And there are all kinds of issues about limiting it, et cetera. Also, we had the congressional testimony, and I got to get your sense of where did that go? Did we accomplish anything? Because it looks like the guys asking questions still have clocks blinking 12 at home on their VCRs. So how are they going to protect us? So welcome to the show. And what do we need to know about TikTok that will clear up this question for the people listening?
Probably not going to clear it up, but we can certainly talk about it.
Okay.
So let's start generally. All of these social media companies make their money spying on you. TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, every last one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They spy on you. They know a lot about you, and they try to manipulate you. Right? They try to sell you stuff. That's their business model. So in that way, TikTok is no different than anybody else. On the other hand, TikTok is owned by the Chinese, which makes it different. Is it a threat to national security? I don't know. Is Facebook a threat to national security? Is there a difference that matters? Maybe. It's actually complicated.
What do they know about me? I'm not on TikTok, but when I sign up for social media, I have to give them an email address. I have to give them very little information about me. But okay, Google.
Google
Yeah.
knows what kind of porn you like.
Okay.
That's how you search for it. Right? Google knows everything you hope, everything you fear, everything you've searched. I mean, these things are very intimate. If you got a Google phone, it knows where you are at all times, knows who you're with because you've all got a phone. I mean, these are the amount of information about us. Facebook famously knows you're in a relationship before you announce it. They knows if you voted, know who you voted for. They know your sexual orientation based on the things you do and post. These are very intimate portraits of us through our actions. And TikTok, right, knows what you like and don't like based on the Reels, whatever the short videos are. I don't use TikTok either, so all of us are kind of useless in this conversation.
Right.
They know a lot about us, and the amount is kind of staggering. There was a report from Consumer Reports just a couple of weeks ago, and all the information Facebook buys from other companies to compile dossiers. Assume TikTok is the same thing. They all do this. The internet is built on spying. This is the most effective surveillance device you've ever seen.
So are we concerned about, let's say that it's the Chinese government is in fact spying on this in some way. Are we concerned about the metadata that we are giving to these people, or are we concerned literally that if they want to manipulate Jason Alexander, they're going to go into my profile, figure out what I'm vulnerable about, and manipulate that? What's our bigger concern?
So let's do them separately. So let's talk about the spying first. Now, the Chinese government does a lot of spying. Right? They were behind the Equifax data breach. Remember that one? 2017?
Yep.
Yeah.
147 million credit records of Americans were stolen by the Chinese government. They were behind the Office of Personnel Management hack. I think that was the year later. This is the profiles of everybody with security clearance. They hacked Marriott hotels. The whole database is who's staying where. If you sort of look at this, they kind of want to know who comes into their country who's a government employee. Right? If you have all of this data, you can know a lot about individuals. Mm-hmm. And you can imagine U.S. government wants this data, Chinese government, a lot of governments want this kind of data. So yes, you could easily imagine China collecting data on Americans through TikTok. You could also imagine them buying it from Facebook. Like Facebook sells all this stuff, so they don't need their own social network. Now, so that's sort of data surveillance. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think there's an issue here. Is it really different than Facebook or Twitter or everybody else? Probably not. Okay. Let's move to the other half, manipulation.
Right.
All right. We know that U.S. companies engage in some manipulation. Facebook ran an experiment in mood alteration where they showed that if they showed you happy posts by your friends, you'd be happier. They showed you sad posts, you'd be sadder. They showed that they were able to affect whether you voted or not by showing you posts of people you knew who also voted or not showing you those. We don't know what extent the U.S. companies manipulate. Right? We certainly know Twitter makes sure you see Musk's posts and the posts that he likes. So yes, you can easily imagine TikTok doing the same thing. And even without malicious intent, it is clear that the algorithm sends people down rabbit holes of depression or anxiety or maybe even blissfulness and happiness. I guess sad is better than happy for engagement. So we know that, like everybody else, TikTok does that. Right? That is the nature of social media. The question here is, could they do it on behest of their government? And the answer is yes. And you kind of know the answer because the TikTok available in China is very different than the TikTok available in the United States. The Chinese government actually has restrictions on the amount of this kind of manipulation TikTok can do on its own citizens. But in the U.S., it's a free-for-all. TikTok can behave just like Facebook, Twitter, and everybody else.
Wow. That's a really no really.
Right there.
Is it that much of a difference?
I don't know because there's not much experimentation. I believe it is. I believe there are rules on the kind of content TikTok can show Chinese users. They have rules on engagements. They don't want people addicted to it. But that's not just TikTok. That's all social media. But of course, it's in China, so you've got the Western social media doesn't penetrate.
But Bruce, you're talking about usually young users, correct? TikTok skews younger than other.
70% of young Americans use TikTok. It's a crazy number.
That's insane. So what about misinformation? Pushing out generated misinformation that the Chinese government wants to use to create some kind of chaos over here and division.
They certainly can. They're probably better off using Facebook like everybody else does. I mean, that's what Russia does. So likely they'll use Facebook because I think more older people are on Facebook. But sure, they can use TikTok.
And are they?
Just like everybody else. I mean, so again, there's no difference here. Misinformation on Twitter, misinformation on Facebook, misinformation on TikTok. The question, which I think is interesting, is there a difference? When you hear calls to ban TikTok, we talk about that because that's kind of a nutty idea on its face. They're saying there's a qualitative difference between TikTok and Facebook. I'm not convinced there is.
Well,
there's a difference in degree, probably, but not a difference in kind.
Are Facebook, Instagram, the other major social media companies, are they American-based companies?
Yes.
So the big difference is the Chinese government owns TikTok. It's our spying is good. Their spying no good.
Well, but the question is, how much spying can the Chinese government do using the American companies?
Right,
they
of course.
Can't. Right. They can't get the same amount of bulk data because they don't have that direct government line. But, we know they try to hack into these companies all the time. Google's been fending off China for like a couple of decades now, usually going after the Gmail accounts of Taiwanese dissidents. So, are they in? We don't know.
So let me ask you about this, because I read that the algorithm is different for TikTok, that the algorithm there is about minutes and hours of time spent, whereas the others we're talking about are about clicks and engagement. Is that a nuance that makes a difference?
It probably does. So all of these Western social media sites, and we'll add TikTok in the United States, right? They make their money showing you ads. So their goal is to keep you on their platform as long as possible, which tends to mean extreme content, things that piss you off, things that are outrageous, and cute puppy videos, right? So all of those things are shown on all these platforms to keep you engaged. Now, it's interesting because the difference, Apple's the one company whose business model doesn't rely on spying on you, right? Apple makes money selling you overpriced electronics. So Apple systems tend not to have that addictive quality because the company doesn't need addiction to make money.
Wow.
Whereas the other companies do, right? The more you use Google, the more money they make. The more you use Facebook, the more money they make, as opposed to Apple, which is singularly different.
So I think I read when I was looking up who to get, and I was impressed by reading some articles that you wrote in the Congressional testimony, was that American companies in America always thought we were going to be the leader in tech forever. I mean, we're brilliant, we do it. And I think you wrote, well, that's ended. Well, that's a shocker. That no mas, that is not what's happening right now. And I always said to my wife, you know what, I'm wondering with the Apple, if the next guy who creates the next big thing is not from here, how's that going to impact our culture?
It still is. I mean, this is still the country with, in some ways, the most lax funding and startup laws. Startups tend to be here. I mean, my area is cybersecurity. A lot of startups in Israel, but when they become even halfway successful, they move the headquarters to the United States. Europe has some innovation, not a lot, for complicated reasons, probably not worth getting into. There is good stuff coming out of China, but it tends to be with a Chinese focus. You don't see the next big thing.
You would think that they could develop that, and that would be a plus for them. Why aren't they trying to do that? Why wouldn't that not be the benefit?
I think they are trying. I think we're learning sort of firsthand the benefits of a market economy for innovation. I mean, I'll complain about capitalism all the frickin' time, but here's an example of where it seems demonstrably better. That all of China's planned programs and AI and quantum and this and that, just don't have the generative, the innovation that
we have. Wow.
U.S. gets by having a market. That's what markets are good at. They're bad at a lot of things, but they're really good at this.
So given all this, what, as a security tech guru, what are you called upon most to do? What do you do for these companies? And the second part of that question is what can the consumer, what can I do while I'm on my social media to push back at this, if anything?
You're going to hate that answer. A lot of what I do is security consulting, how to keep networks safe.
Yeah.
The interesting question one you asked, like as a generic user, what can I do? And the answer is almost nothing, right? because your data is not in your hands. Think about where your data is. Your email is on Gmail. Your photos are on, I don't know, some photo site. Your documents are in the cloud somewhere else. Your calendar is here. Your data is no longer under your control. So all these security measures, right? You got to trust the companies. And that's a terrible story because the companies are like pretty untrustworthy.
Yeah.
But at this point, the advice I can give you is very much around the edges because your data is elsewhere, controlled by other companies with their rules. And you call up, Fatke and say, I want to know what security measures my photographs are being protected by. And they say, no, we won't tell you. Your choice is to trust them or not. So what can you do? Don't have a cell phone. Don't have an email address. Don't have a credit card. And that's kind of stupid advice for the first quarter of the 21st century.
So I can't, let me ask you this. Can I game my feed? Can I refuse to click on stuff that I know they want me to click on? Can I not be sucked in by the enticements and thereby change what they send me?
I mean, you can. Like, if you stop clicking on those cute puppy photos, they're going to stop sending you cute puppy photos.
Right.
But honestly, they're cute puppy photos. They're hard not to click on.
But I'm thinking more about political stories or cultural stories where, it's being fed to me because they think they understand my bias. And,
Yeah, maybe. So one of the things I teach this in a policy school here at Harvard. And I had students last week download their Facebook and Google data. Both of those companies allow you to download their data about you. Do it. It's actually interesting what they have on you, how they've categorized you, what they've gotten right, what they've gotten wrong. Now, in the United States, you don't have any ability to correct that. In Europe, you have some ability to have them delete your data and correct your data. Not in the U.S.
So you have no recourse. If I download it on, I see egregious things said. There's no way to correct it. No way to contact them and say,
you see posts on Facebook you wrote but never sent.
Can you?
Hold on a second. That's
see, I don't do Facebook, so that's.
I know, but they have posted unsent posts.
Yes, if you wrote something and said, I don't want to send that, and delete it, they've got a copy.
You got to testify in front of Congress again, damn it.
It's you can see it yourself. It's
I get it, but
location data is there. They have an idea of where you live and where you work based on sort of where you are during the day and night. And of course, you all have one. They know who you sleep with.
Are you able to? Is that something you can explain, like in a few sentences, about how somebody goes to download their data that way?
What I tell the students is go do it because it's not that hard. I mean, type into Google, download your Facebook data. It gives you instructions. It's not that hard.
I knew. You know what's so funny? If you bet me the next question he was going to ask, it would be that. How do you download?
Well, because now seriously, I signed up for Facebook. I have never used it, so I always tell anybody if you saw something of me on Facebook, it ain't me.
But it knows you're looking.
Facebook collects data about you even if you're not on Facebook.
So when you testified in front of Congress. Were you completely frustrated when you finished by the questions they asked, or what the direction they were trying to go in to figure out what this world is?
So I'll give you a secret. Unless you're high profile, like a Zuckerberg, the congressional hearings you watch on television, most of the members aren't there. Their staffers are there.
Yeah.
Wait, but this is not a bad thing.
That I knew.
But that's
a good thing. The staffers are who you want to talk to.
Okay, right. All right.
They're the ones who know stuff and get stuff done.
So did you get anything approved? Did you feel when you walked out, yes, Schneier, this is a winning day for me. I moved the cheese.
I made my points, but, let's be honest here. U.S. government's pretty dysfunctional right now. It's not going to matter. Sorry. But, I tend to know I'm speaking to the staffers. So, the members will ask questions. There'll be questions the staffers wrote. Often they want to hear the answers. I'm good at giving answers in non-techie terms, so I'm likable. I'll give them homework. They laugh. It's
You're
great fun.
likable, but I want to hang myself since we started this whole journey.
Where's this?
But let's talk about answers. I mean,
Well, that's what I was going to
right?
ask you.
Let's talk about
is it about
the
changing
notion of what we might mean when we say to ban Facebook. So the first one is you could ban the app stores from selling the app, right? From making the app available. So the Apple and Google app stores.
All right.
The app is no longer available.
All right.
This is like vaguely effective. It won't affect the 70% of young people who already installed the app.
Right.
It's on their phone. Anybody who jailbreaks their Apple phone or uses an alternative app store for Google will be able to download it. So you can still do it, and presumably the kids will exchange tricks on how to do this.
Sure.
It'll be vaguely effective. It doesn't affect the website at all. You can always go to TikTok through the website. Right? So not a great idea. Let's do another one. Congress could ban U.S. companies from doing business with ByteDance. ByteDance is the company that owns Facebook.
Right.
And this is what Donald Trump tried in 2020. And the courts blocked it. All right, so what this does is it keeps TikTok from being on American infrastructure. So U.S. companies couldn't provide financial services, couldn't provide hosting services, couldn't provide acceleration. It would have some effect. It would definitely cut into TikTok's business. U.S. advertisers couldn't pay money to put ads on TikTok. If it's actually subsidized by the Chinese, wouldn't make that much of a difference. It might be a little slower to load because the servers will be in Europe or in Canada instead of in the United States. Okay, so that's two. The third thing they can do is actually try to ban the companies from being on the internet in the United States. And this would be incredibly difficult. This is building a censorship regime like China.
Right.
We do not have the ability to enact that sort of ban. So our options tend to be further back in the financial realm, either prohibiting the app stores from having it, prohibiting U.S. companies from doing business with ByteDance. I'm not convinced they'll be that effective, and they're a big deal. I mean, they really are. We do that for things that are actually freaking dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and they can't prove unequivocally what's going on. So bingo, I hear
but
you.
But likely you're being spied on by the Chinese. I mean, duh.
Is there, if we had a functional Congress, is there any kind of laws that we could create that would diminish the ability of these companies to legally do what they're doing?
I mean, yes. I mean, right now, surveillance as a business model is legal without any regulation. I mean, Google can sell what kind of porn you like to whoever wants to buy it. So yes, and Europe has some of these laws, the U.S. doesn't. I mean, so when I think of the problem and the solution, I go back up, right? I want serious data privacy laws that protect us from all the companies, not just TikTok, but the rest of them as well.
Yeah.
Do they have big lobbying? Is that why it's problematic? Also, are they spending a lot of money to influence Congress members?
I mean, yes. I mean, so we know how this works. I mean, the companies know that every once in a while they have to go to Congress and get yelled at. I mean, Zuckerberg got yelled at a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
And they get yelled at, then they go back and do what they want. There's no serious attempt at regulation. And, a good regulation that protects us from all the companies protects us from the Chinese. Now, I'd like to be able to say that, look, surveillance as a business model is now a national security concern. And it was, a few years ago. Because if you remember, the Equifax hack in 2017 was by the Chinese government. Like, it wasn't a Chinese company collecting the data. It was a U.S. company. And it was stolen by the Chinese. Mm-hmm. So data privacy is very much a national security issue. And it's high time we treated it as such. You're not going to do it by cutting out the Chinese companies. You're going to do it by regulating the industry.
Is there anyone currently in our Congress that gets this and is working on any kind of legislature on it?
There are. I mean, there are some that do. Warner, Feingold, but it tends to be drowned in the noise. Yeah. And there's a lot of right? There's a lot of outrage. I mean, there was a point when both Republicans and Democrats were pissed off at Facebook for different reasons, but we had a rare moment of being able to come together on something and didn't. Really, I look to the Europeans. The EU is very much the regulatory superpower on the planet. And when they pass a privacy law, we in the United States benefit. Because often it's easier to implement it worldwide than figure out who a European is. I mean, just like I was talking to an Australian company that does healthcare recently, and they benefit from the U.S. HIPAA law because it's easier to follow the law than to figure out who the Americans are in their network.
Right.
Interesting. A well-written regulation from a big enough market moves the planet.
Can I ask you one last question? I'm curious about the future. So, because we are the customer, you always say when it's free, you're not the customer, you're the information. So they're collecting all this information on us, and these companies want to grow and grow and grow. When they're tapped out because they've gotten our keystrokes or this or that, where are they going to go next for revenue model since they have access? Is there something that's coming that we're not prepared for that you see from the cyber area that we haven't even dealt with yet?
They've already said, pretty much all of them, that their future is AI. That AI being able to analyze better and manipulate better. Now, I don't know how much of this is real, how much of this is a red herring, but that is what they are saying. And they're looking at the same things you are, right? Like, we're saturated. What do? They see AI as a way to goose their revenue.
New revenue stream, because that's what it's about.
Sorry.
Right? Yep. Well, thanks. It's been a pleasure having you on. I now have...
I'm going to go hang myself.
I like this optimistic podcast. This is great.
No, but have you changed your bait? Do you feel pretty good every day? Do you get up and go to Harvard whistling Dixie on the way to class? Or do you have your
honestly, you have to. I mean, yes. I mean, this is a lot of bad stuff in there, but, I tend to be long-term optimistic. This is not going to be the thing that'll, destroy civilization. We've gone through a lot worse. And honestly, everybody makes their own decisions. I mean, I don't use Facebook, but I freaking play Pokemon Go. That's a surveillance-based game. So I'm not telling you not to do these things. Don't think of that. We all make our own trade-offs. You want to watch the cute puppy videos, go to town. It makes you happy.
You really like the puppy thing, don't you?
He's very...
I don't know. I don't actually watch these videos, so it's what's coming up. It's coming up.
Well, I don't actually watch my own porn. I don't do it. I have it's
a guy?
It's the puppy.
Somebody explains to you.
The puppy is playing with my iPod.
Well, porn is...
All right, this is way too much sharing.
Is it? You just made our guest uncomfortable. Finally, see that?
Fantastic! I got that.
Well, thanks for coming on, man. You
amazing.
Appreciate it, and your students are lucky to have you, man. Lucky to have you.
I'll see you on the apps. See you on the apps.
All right.
Look at that. Read that headline out loud.
New cyber threat from China targets home internet routers. Yeah, I know.
If you got an older...
But that's what I'm saying. We are, for better or worse, we are constantly being observed. We are constantly being a transmitter of information that somebody or something is going to use or profit from. And I just, it's why I have, truthfully, I have pulled so far back from social media.
Except for one thing. Here's what I am concerned. The concern is this, and it's more for my kids, although, so you order prescriptions from an Amazon or whoever, and they have your information, and you got the new thing that you put in your car to reduce your insurance that can tell if you're going fast or whatever, because you're a good driver. And so you got your medical, you got your car driving, you got your home insurance, et cetera. And all of a sudden AI, which is very advanced at this point, goes, wow, he didn't pick up his prescription when he was supposed to. So he's been driving without the prescription for a whole day. His rate's going to go up. And you're going to get your insurance bill, and your insurance bill is going to be higher, and you're not going to know why, and you're not going to be able to call anybody to say, why did this go up? Because customer service is going to be in AI. And to try and navigate that, today it's already frustrating.
Is that AI also going to be in India? Because all the customer service things that I get now are rooting to what I believe, if not literally in India, certainly the people that are talking to me have that accent. I think it's on a server. It could be in a server in El Cerrito. I don't know. I don't know where they are. But all I'm saying is, you're not. I just picked it out of my.
Saugus. I'll pick another place.
Saugus.
Nice,
That's
nice
better.
place. By
That's
the way. You ever
better.
been? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Solvang. You want me to promote another place?
Solvang.
Solvang's very nice.
Cute.
You can
Very
go there. They
cute.
can get your information, and you can see a windmill and buy clogs.
Right. You betcha.
Now I forgot my thought because you take. This is what you do to me. We start out intelligent. Gosh.
Well, China knows what you were thinking.
All right, that got me. That an unsent Facebook. I was going to send something.
Yeah, I deleted it, and they still have it.
They got it. Oh no!
Well, but that's the thing. If I haven't hit send, why do they have it? I understand if I sent it and now I try and delete it, it's never really
They
gone.
got
I
it.
know that.
They got
But
it.
if I never hit send,
And soon with the Neuralink, Elon Musk Neuralink, if you're thinking about sending it but don't even type it, they're going to know that you were thinking about. Can you imagine? That's one step away when they're going to know what you're really thinking.
you know
And then,
what?
Yeah, we're-
Honestly, can you listen? If you had to do it, could you unplug from all of it and
no.
just be
Are
done
you
with it?
out of your mind?
You couldn't do it.
No. David Guggenheim, what do you got, David?
Oh man, what don't I have?
Right?
Yeah, what don't you have?
Let's see. Can I add to the pessimism, or should
Oh,
we
boy.
get?
Nice.
I don't know. We've had enough of that. TikTok. Have you guys have used TikTok, right?
I do not.
I twerk.
all?
I twerk
I
on
do
it.
not use
I
it.
twerk on TikTok a lot. Go ahead.
You know what twerking is, so that is something. Well,
How dare you? Don't be condescending.
Let me give you
Which
a little
means talking down to yes.
Let me give you a little view of some of the things that you're missing.
Give
On
us that
TikTok,
little view.
please. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. A little view on things
view.
we are missing.
Yeah. So the number one video of all time on TikTok has 2.1 billion views.
Uh-huh.
It's from a guy named Zach King, and it's called Zach King's Magic Ride. I can't believe you haven't seen this. He appears, he's like on a suburban street in sort of a Harry Potter getup, and he's like literally flying on a
I've seen
broom.
I've seen it, and it's a
Yes.
mirror, and he shows you the mirror and the thing. Yes.
Yes.
I've
So
seen
that
it.
is that. See, you one
so
video.
I didn't watch it
down,
on TikTok. I didn't watch it on TikTok.
Oh.
It came to me on Insta.
Oh, Instagram. Well, there you go. You're luckily for you, the Instagram has completely ripped off the TikTok.
There you go.
Look at you.
I thought the one that would have gone through the roof is the the iguana who's having the acid trip. About whose floor is that? Not my floor. Not my floor. Not my problem. You remember that one? That thing. That was one of the funniest.
You know what?
things
This is
I've ever done in
scaring
my
me
life.
more than the security breach. How about that?
What? You don't know? 'Cause-
That we spend time looking at this stuff. The iguana, the talking iguana,
Well, it's not a talking iguana. It's a animated iguana.
animated iguana.
But apparently, the story behind it was a guy dropped acid and they put him in a closet and recorded him, and then they animated this lizard to whatever he was saying.
See?
But that moves society forward. That kind of thing.
Yes,
So,
it does.
you
It
know.
makes us better.
Yes,
Makes
we're
us
better people.
And it also gets the Chinese to go, I don't know what I'm looking at.
I don't know what-
I
yeah,
don't know
right.
what this. That's what
America?
we do. You know what? We put up a lot of stuff that
That's what I was saying.
F's with their head.
Can we game it?
F's with their
Can
head.
I only watch certain kinds of things? Can I? Yes, right?
Thank you very much.
Oh,
David,
my God, David.
I feel like we haven't moved the ball at all. The question was, TikTok, safe or not?
Well, the question was, is China profiting? Yes, China's
Yes.
profiting. Are they spying? Yes. Are we? Yes.
Yes.
Is everybody spying?
Yes. Good night.
Have we been compromised? Yes.
Drive safely.
Are we in trouble?
Yes.
Is anyone going to help us? No.
The EU.
Good
the
luck.
EU. The EU may help us.
EU. Our future rests on
Let me just
people who have not Brexited.
And one thing, because I don't want to judge the intelligence of our viewers.
Absolutely.
EU means European Union.
Yes.
And we're out.